Tonight, the monster hurricane, now the horror revealed, the death toll growing tonight. What our team has found after Hurricane Melissa, images of the devastation coming in, slamming into Jamaica as a Category 5 hurricane. All of Jamaica declared a disaster area. Tonight, families who were holding on to parts of their homes to survive this. Lee Goldberg with the new track, and in the U.S. tonight, the heavy rain and winds hitting the northeast tomorrow. Also breaking the verdict. The former deputy charged with killing Sonya Massey in her kitchen asked why he didn't use his taser instead of his gun. Tonight, what the jury has decided. The teacher shot by a first grader. Tonight, for the first time, the body camera video showing the moments after that teacher was shot by a 6-year-old. Tonight, the government shutdown, day 29. More than 40 million Americans set to lose food benefits. Republicans blaming Democrats. Democrats blaming Republicans, who they say have refused to address health insurance premiums set to skyrocket for 20 million Americans. Just hours from now, President Trump and China's President Xi. Will there be a trade deal? And President Trump tonight and what he's now saying about a third term. Back in the U.S., the dramatic rescue, the seniors saved from a fire, first responders carefully carrying them to safety. From Paris tonight, the breaking headline involving that heist at the Louvre, what authorities have now revealed. And now in New York City, authorities say thieves dressed as construction workers here, stealing $3 million in jewelry, this time from a home. Along the East Coast tonight, 5 homes collapsing into the ocean. The dramatic rescue, the dog clinging to a side of a cliff, the firefighter rappelling down to try to get to that dog. What rescuers say the dog did when they got to him. There is news tonight, a murder suspect freed by mistake, where they're now searching. And the driver who pulled over choking, what she was choking on, and the extraordinary timing that saved her.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening. We begin tonight here with Hurricane Melissa, the monster storm causing widespread destruction across the Caribbean, slamming into Jamaica as a Category 5 hurricane. Families tonight telling us they were clinging onto parts of their homes to survive this storm. Melissa, the strongest storm on record to ever hit Jamaica, winds up to 185 miles per hour. Communities underwater, roads blocked, houses destroyed. More than 70% of the island tonight without power. And what our team discovered there when they made their way to some of the hardest hit areas. Hotels and resorts heavily damaged. Some tourists riding out the storm, posting online the video and calling the scene, quote, catastrophic. At this hour, Melissa, still a Category 1 hurricane, now slamming the Bahamas. Lee Goldberg is standing by with the track tonight, and ABC's Ike Ejiochi with the scope of the devastation. He's been in Jamaica from the start.
Tonight, after slamming Jamaica with 185-mile-an-hour winds, the death toll is rising across the Caribbean, and Melissa is still a powerful hurricane on the move. Search and rescue missions now underway across Jamaica. We made our way from Kingston to hard-hit St. Elizabeth Parish slowly, the roads covered with rocks and debris. The parish taking a direct hit, and Melissa came ashore like no other hurricane before it, cutting across the country like a buzzsaw. Video from police forces in the town of Black River shows residents taking refuge at their station. Authorities say they found at least 2 bodies here amid the destruction. In hard-hit Santa Cruz, where torrents of water rushed through the streets Tuesday. This is what's left of the St. Elizabeth Technical High School. The roof all but completely ripped off. Storm chaser Jonathan Petramala finding residents that rode out the storm, some telling him they literally held on for their lives.
So you had to you climbed up during the hurricane onto your roof to nail it down so it wouldn't blow away.
Yes, so it wouldn't blow away. And I see other people, residents in my area, their roof lift off, church, everything. So there was a team of us out there trying to help other people also.
Some 25,000 Jamaicans are in shelters, and some 25,000 tourists are stuck on the island. R.J. Smith shooting this video from his hotel as he rode out the storm in Montego Bay. There's destruction across the Caribbean in Melissa's wake. In Cuba, some 750,000 people remain in shelters. Officials in Haiti reporting at least 25 deaths so far. David, the town of Santa Cruz is completely devastated. A wall of water and rock came rushing through the town, covering everything. Getting back to normal is going to take months. David?
And that vehicle just buried there, Ike. We sure do appreciate it. Let's get right to Chief Meteorologist Lee Goldberg from WABC, still tracking this hurricane tonight. And, of course, the other storm set to hit the Northeast tomorrow. But, Lee, first, Melissa, where is she?
Belting the central Bahamas right now, David. Still with 90-mile-per-hour winds at Cat 1. There'll still be 10 inches of rain, a 7-foot surge. Thankfully, after a really rough night, it will accelerate and leave the Bahamas. It will go west of Bermuda as we go through tomorrow night into Friday morning, a brief period of hurricane conditions. Why is this moving away from the East Coast? It's the storm that belts the Northeast tomorrow. It's going to be a wet, windswept day, a rough commute in D.C. and Philly in the morning. New York, probably the heart in the afternoon. Then into New England, we could have a couple inches of rainfall, even 50-mile-per-hour gusts along the coast, and some coastal flooding. See that connection to the tropical moisture. It does move away on Friday. The problem is a lot of wind for trick-or-treaters, gusts to 40 miles an hour. David?
Lee Goldberg back with us tonight. Lee, thank you. The other breaking story, the verdict late today in Illinois. The former deputy charged with killing Sonya Massey in her own kitchen. Body camera video played at trial showing the deadly confrontation. The former deputy, Sean Grayson, was asked why he didn't use his taser instead of his own gun. Late today, the jury finding him guilty of second-degree murder. Matt Rivers from Illinois tonight.
Tonight, former Illinois Sheriff's Deputy Sean Grayson found guilty in the murder of Sonya Massey.
Sean Grayson is convicted of murder. He is a murderer now.
A jury of 9 women and 3 men deliberating for nearly 12 hours, considering charges of first or second-degree murder, ultimately settling on the lesser charge, second degree. Grayson now facing a sentence of 4 to 20 years in prison.
Sheriff's Office!
The trial lasting 7 days, the disturbing body camera video from July 2024 at its center. Then Deputy Sean Grayson and his partner responding to Sonya Massey's house near Springfield, Illinois, after she called to report a possible prowler. The situation escalating quickly after the deputies told Massey she could remove a pot of boiling water from the stove.
Away from your hot steaming water.
Away from the hot steaming water?
Yeah.
Oh, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus.
Grayson testifying in his own defense, telling the jury he believes Sonya Massey was going to throw the scalding water on him after using what he called threatening words.
Drop the pot! Drop the pot! Drop 19 shots fired! Shots fired! Shots fired!
The former deputy asked why he used a gun instead of a taser. Grayson telling the jury he had an older model and Massey was wearing multiple layers of clothing, saying he didn't want to take the chance of it malfunctioning. Prosecutors calling Grayson an angry man with a gun, pointing out that the 36-year-old mother of 2 was suffering a mental health episode. And Grayson's partner testifying Massey never did anything that made me think she was a threat, and that it was Grayson's actions that raised my sense of awareness.
Say her name!
Tonight, Massey's family angry the jury did not convict on first-degree murder, still hoping for the maximum possible sentence.
The maximum allowable under law for the second-degree murder conviction. He is truly a murderer.
David, the former deputy handcuffed and led out of the courtroom, his sentencing scheduled for late January. David?
Matt Rivers live in Illinois tonight. Matt, thank you. There are harrowing new images here tonight in the case of the teacher who was shot by a first grader in Virginia. For the first time, body camera video showing the moments after that teacher was shot by the 6-year-old. Here's our Chief Justice correspondent, Pierre Thomas, tonight.
Tonight, we see for the first time the tense, scary moments in the aftermath of a first grader shooting his teacher in an elementary school classroom in Newport News, Virginia in January 2023. There's Abby Zwerner after being shot in the chest and the hand, being carefully lifted by rescue workers trying to save her life. Moments later, she's in the ambulance, sirens blaring.
Are you okay, Abby? Everything's gonna be okay. They're gonna take really good care of you.
That body camera video released during a trial involving Zwerner's $40 million lawsuit, alleging that a Newport News school administrator ignored multiple warnings from staff that the boy had a gun that morning. Today we learned that the bullet fired by the 6-year-old boy remains only inches from Zwerner's heart, still too dangerous to remove. And tonight, more details about just how dangerous and surreal it was.
As soon as he shot it, I was walking down the hall and I heard, and I went right in. Abby was in, the teacher was bloody. And she came out. She came out, we moved the kids out. JT. Stood there and I took JT. I was the one who called 911.
David, the trial continues tomorrow. We're waiting to see if the teacher will take the stand to give her account of what happened that tragic day. David?
All right, Pierre Thomas in Washington tonight. Pierre, thank you. Now to the government shutdown, day 29. More than 40 million Americans set to lose food benefits. Republicans blaming Democrats. Democrats say Republicans have refused to address health insurance premiums set to skyrocket for 20 million Americans. Jay O'Brien on the Hill again tonight.
Tonight, after 29 days, the government shutdown showdown over health care costs for tens of millions of Americans now exploding into a food crisis hitting the country's most vulnerable. SNAP federal food assistance serving 42 million Americans set to run out of money in just 2 days. Many anxiously stocking up at food pantries.
It's hard to say we need help, especially as mamas. You know, we're supposed to take care of our babies, and when we can't, we need help.
In Arizona, Patricia Lamb stretches about $130 a week in SNAP benefits to feed herself and her grandchildren.
I have a week's worth of meals in here right now.
But this month's money is almost gone.
I'm at $2.45 right now. So that's kind of scary.
And tonight, President Trump suggesting his administration may find a way to keep SNAP afloat, but not giving any details. Republicans erupting on the Senate floor, blaming Democrats for refusing to end the shutdown.
SNAP recipients shouldn't go without food. People should be getting paid in this country. And we've tried to do that 13 times. And you voted no 13 times.
But Democrats blasting the Trump administration, saying in SNAP's 60-year history, even during shutdowns, the government has always found a way to keep the program afloat.
If SNAP does run out, tens of millions of Americans will go hungry. Are you getting a sense from your Democratic colleagues that the pain of that and other aspects of this shutdown might outweigh this fight for health care?
My Democratic colleagues are united in the fact that Trump and the administration can do this not this weekend, tomorrow, today, right away. We don't want to pit health care and food. They do. We think you can have both.
And David, health insurance premiums are just days away from skyrocketing for some 20 million Americans on Obamacare. Democrats have said they would vote to reopen the government if Republicans negotiated with them on that issue. But so far, more than 4 weeks into this shutdown, David, and they haven't. David.
You'll continue to follow it, Jay. Thank you. President Trump just hours now from meeting with China's President Xi. Will there be a trade deal? Rachel Scott traveling with the president.
Tonight, President Trump just hours away from his high-stakes meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping, where he hopes to reset the relationship between the world's two largest economies and his trade war with China.
I think we're going to have a deal. I think it'll be a good deal for both. And that's really a great result. You know, that's better than fighting and going through all sorts of problems.
The president says there's a framework of a deal on everything from tariffs to fentanyl, to ending the Chinese boycott of American soybeans that has pushed some American farmers toward bankruptcy. It would also loosen restrictions on China's sale of rare earth minerals, critical for making smartphones and cars. The meeting taking place here in South Korea, which has rolled out the red carpet for President Trump, even gifting him a replica of a gold crown worn by ancient Korean royalty. The president had also hoped to meet with North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un on this trip. Today, he pledged to mend ties between North and South Korea.
I know you are officially at war, but we will see what we can do to get that all straightened out.
But Kim did not publicly acknowledge Trump's invitation to meet, instead test firing a new round of missiles capable of carrying nuclear warheads. Tonight, as the president prepares to meet with China's President Xi, who could be president for life, Trump himself acknowledging his own time in power is limited. After feeding speculation he could run for a third term, he now says the Constitution clearly states that's not possible.
I would say that if you read it, it's pretty clear I'm not allowed to run. It's too bad. I missed it. But we have a lot of great people.
President Trump and President Xi will sit down here in South Korea in just a few hours. Meanwhile, back home in the United States, construction of the president's ballroom is well underway after the east wing of the White House was completely demolished. Tonight, we are learning the president has fired all 6 members of the Art Commission that were slated to review the president's construction projects. David.
Rachel Scott traveling with the president. Rachel, thank you. Meantime, back in the U.S. to the economy tonight. For the second time this year, the Federal Reserve now cutting interest rates by a quarter point. That brings rates below 4% for the first time in 3 years. Economists point to inflation picking up and hiring that has slowed. Fed Chair Jerome Powell signaling a potential December rate cut, quote, is not a foregone conclusion. And after major job cuts announced by UPS, Meta, Microsoft, and Google, General Motors tonight now revealing it will lay off more than 1,700 workers in Michigan, Ohio, and Tennessee. Overseas tonight, news about 2 suspects in the brazen jewelry heist at the Louvre in Paris. The prosecutor now saying they have, quote, partially admitted to being involved and have been charged now with armed robbery and conspiracy. Both remain in custody tonight. The manhunt still underway for the remaining suspects. None of the jewels have been recovered. When we come back in New York, the brazen heist here in broad daylight. Again, thieves dressed as construction workers. Authorities say stealing $3 million in jewelry, this time from a home. Where this played out in a moment. Also, the dramatic rescue tonight, the seniors saved from a fire. You can hear the first responders right there carefully getting each one of those seniors to safety. And then look at this tonight. America Strong, the dog clinging, falling off of a cliff, landing on a ledge 40 feet below. The firefighter rappelling down to try to get to that dog, and what plays out in just a moment here. Tonight, the images now emerging of a dramatic rescue that played out at a senior complex outside Detroit. Body camera images showing first responders carefully carrying dozens of seniors to safety. Heavy smoke closing in as they were doing it. All of the seniors making it out okay. Fire destroying much of the building on Friday. That fire is still under investigation. In New York City tonight, police say a group of people, some dressed as construction workers, stealing more than $3 million in jewelry from a home. Police say the suspects broke in through a back door, forcibly removing a safe, escaping in a blue Hyundai. Authorities say the homeowner is a jeweler who was likely targeted. Tonight, an urgent manhunt underway for a murder suspect mistakenly released from jail in Martinez, California, outside San Francisco. Authorities say Isaiah Andrews was facing extradition to Washington State. The sheriff's office says it's now investigating the circumstances surrounding his release. When we come back here tonight, the driver who pulled over because she was choking, what she was choking on, and the extraordinary timing here, how she was saved in a moment. To the index of other news tonight, 5 more homes collapsing into the ocean in North Carolina. Rough surf there along the Outer Banks, knocking the homes off their foundations. No one was in the homes. Authorities warning visitors to avoid the Cape Hatteras seashore because of debris. 16 homes have now crashed into the sea since just last month. Tonight, an officer saving a woman choking on the side of the road outside Chicago in Cook County. The woman in her car choking on a bagel bite, pulling over. The officer happened to be driving by, spotting her and coming to her aid. This was in Ford Heights, performing the Heimlich maneuver, saving her life. Just incredible. When we come back here tonight, the dog who fell off a cliff, falling 40 feet to a small landing below. Firefighters and what they did to get to that dog.
ABC World News Tonight with David Muir, sponsored by Consumer Cellular. See how much we can cut your bill.
Finally tonight here, America Strong. If you have a German short-haired pointer, you know that they can sometimes get themselves into a bind. Tonight, the firefighters coming to the rescue. Tonight in San Francisco, the incredible rescue on the side of a treacherous cliff. It happened at Fort Funston, overlooking the Pacific. The San Francisco Fire Department responding to a call. A dog, a German short-haired pointer named Zeke, slipping off an oceanside cliff and landing on a narrow ledge 40 feet down. The dog stranded. Fire Station 19, the specialized cliff rescue unit, racing to the scene. The firefighters with their hammers setting up what they call a high-angle rigging system. Firefighter Daniela Romeo bravely stepping over the cliff in her safety harness and rappelling down, making her way down 40 feet to get to Zeke. That firefighter reaching him, putting a safety harness around the dog, and then her team slowly, carefully pulling them both up the cliff. That firefighter and the dog making their way up the cliff one step at a time. That German short-haired pointer finally back on solid ground. Good boy. You can see the Pacific right there behind them. The firefighters walking the dog over to his grateful owner. The two reunited. Tonight, the San Francisco Fire Department, proud of their brave team, proud of the work they do, telling us that dog, the GSP named Zeke, when firefighters finally reached him, he wouldn't stop giving them kisses. Right here tonight.
Hi, David.
Fire Station 19, firefighter Dave Swanson and firefighter Daniela Romeo rappelled down that cliff.
Every day is a good day whenever we can reunite an owner with his dog safely.
Well, we are glad Zeke is back home tonight, and thank you to those firefighters. And I hope Axel's watching this. I'll see you right back here tomorrow. Good night.
David Muir, the most watched newscast in America. And now, ABC's World News Tonight has won the Emmy for Best Live News Program for the 3rd year in a row.